I'm talking about a verse in the book of the prophet Ezekiel in the Old Testament, Ezekiel 25:17. If you put that into a search engine on the internet, it will immediately come up with Pulp Fiction, because this is a verse that is read by the character Jules, the hitman, Marcellus Wallace's hitman Jules, who's played famously by Samuel L. Jackson. And he gives a speech when he's gone to confront some very young guys who apparently have done over Marcellus Wallace. And he reads this speech, and what he reads is apparently Ezekiel 25:17, and he says this. And when I read it, you'll be able to hear Jackson's voice. It's such a fantastic reading. He's such a brilliant actor. He says, "The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee." And then he shoots these guys. The interesting thing about that is that what Jules reads as Ezekiel 25:17 in fact bears almost no resemblance to Ezekiel 25:17 at all. In fact, the verse Ezekiel 25:17 simply says, "I will execute great vengeance on them with wrathful punishment." And in fact, the passage that he reads in the film, the passage that he recites, was pretty much made up by Quentin Tarantino and Samuel L. Jackson. But the interesting thing about this passage is that it does keep cropping up through the film. It's discussed, the meaning of it, Jules discusses at the end of the film. So he's trying to interpret it, and who these selfish people are, who the evil men are, who are the children, who are the weak, who are the strong, and so on and so forth. So it's this business of trying to unlock what these kinds of passages might mean. What he recites feels very much like the Bible, doesn't it? They've written something very much in the genre of the Old Testament, but in fact, it's simply not there. I think that they've probably found a verse about vengeance, and they've wanted to use the verse, but what precedes it is actually not particularly dramatic at all. The verse that precedes it says, "Thus says the Lord God, because with unending hostilities the Philistines acted in vengeance and with malice of heart took revenge in destruction. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, I will stretch out my hand against the Philistines," and so on and so forth. He's talking about very specific tribes. He's prophesying against very specific tribes in this passage of Ezekiel. And so what Tarantino has done is he's taken the basic sense of vengeance and he's made it non-specific. So he's taken any specific references to tribes that Ezekiel is prophesying against, made it very, very general so that it fits in with what he wants Jules to say. I think it's a fantastic film. I really do. I think it broke new ground in cinema history.